The following is a presentation of the ForceCenter podcast feed.
From the center of the galaxy, this is a ForceCenter podcast feed. I'm Ken Napzok.
And I'm Joseph Scrimshaw, and this is one of our News and Cues episodes. The news stands for news, and the Q stands for questions. We just want to save time, so we say Qs instead of questions, so we can have even more time to talk about the news and Qs.
You see, that's how you do good social media, kids. Just everything short to the point.
Exactly. These fast-paced society today, we say, often doing 2-hour podcasts.
Yeah, we're saving 5 seconds every week. From there, we're going to go into the Star Wars news and a big week, some fun stuff to talk about, and we finally get to talk a little bit more in depth about Star Wars Visions. That's because, as expected, we got that special look at Star Wars Visions at the Anime Expo Light. That was over this weekend. Now, it was at a panel, and I did check today. If you want to watch the whole panel, you can go to the Anime Expo website, but there's a registration fee. So I did a U-turn on that pathway. So there you go. So Joseph, I'll go through some quick facts, and then we can dive in a little bit more here. At Star Wars Visions, there are 7 production companies, and they've made 9 shorts. Each film will have their own style and own story. And you can see, if you watch the special look, you can see all kinds of styles represented there, all kind of vibes and feels, and we'll talk about that. They will be released on Disney Plus on September 22nd. To my knowledge, Joseph, correct me if I have missed it, that is a one-time, one-release day. I mean, it will be up there and be available, but this isn't a released over a course of weeks thing, right? Did I get that wrong? Yeah.
No, I had to dig and cross-reference. So I went and looked at the press release that ForceCenter was sent from Disney, and the press release is explicit that it is all episodes will be released on September 22nd.
There you go. That is true. And then quick fact on just one film, Tatooine Rhapsody is a rock opera.
Yes.
It's one of the only ones to feature classic characters. Jabba and Boba Fett are in there as well. So they say one of the only ones. So we'll see if any other characters pop up. So there you go. That's some quick facts there. Star Wars Visions at the, I keep saying anime. We know it's Anime Expo. I want to get it right. Joseph, what do you think about those quick facts? What's your takes on the quick facts?
These are great quick facts. I love knowing the date that they're coming. I love knowing that they're all going to be released at once. I think the only bit of just crunchy knowledge that we don't have yet is the exact length. And I suspect that's because they vary wildly. I have no information in this. I'm just guessing that some of them might be 4 minutes and some of them might, maybe there's one they talk about being epic. Maybe that one's an hour. Who knows? But they do say shorts. So that's the only bit of crunchy information we don't have. So yeah, no, I'm thrilled. You got some other, I will hold myself back because you got some other great information and thoughts and questions, but big picture, thrilled, excited.
Yeah, let's go into, I think, what is the big one. One of the questions coming into this presentation has become a capital D, capital T discourse topic this week in Star Wars. As I'm going to say expected and not a surprise, it was confirmed by James Waugh, the VP at Lucasfilm, that these films are not considered canon. James said, I can pull the exact quote, but he said it was important to give creators a wide creative berth. So, Joseph, we'll start there with, what do we feel about this? I'm going to say confirmation, because again, we kind of had the vibe that this was not going to be canon material, and then we can get into the weeds on that discussion.
Yeah, I think my big question is if it was going to be reinterpretations, like Galaxy of Adventures did such a great job, right. That Titmouse animation series of taking known scenes and then, jazzing them up, reinterpreting them in animation form. So there's a part of me that was wondering, was it going to be, okay, it's the Death Star trench run, but done in this style with this aesthetic. So I'm thrilled. I'd be happy for that. But I'm really thrilled that it is this expression of just absolutely go play. In terms of this sort of larger discourse topic about what is canon and what isn't, I just really feel like, for me, this is one of those times that you can take a lesson from Star Wars. That there's value in being knowledgeable and specific and precise, and there's value in just letting everything go and playing and be wild and fun. Like I almost think about it like, look at it like you're a Jedi, right? And like a Jedi at their height has all of that training, all of that precision, all of that experience. But you also have to just let go and be intuitive and flowing and open to the moment as well. Books describe really well getting into the head of Jedi and like remembering their training and having that precision versus also just being open and playing. And for me, that's a little bit as fans, like we kind of get both sides, exploring things that are like, it's canon. And that means that it's kind of in some ways meticulous of like, it's really watched over and it's really like, Boba Fett can't be here then. We should really make sure that that if it's before a Return of the Jedi, he's in his Empire Strikes Back armor. Like there's a bunch of stuff that is, when it's like in canon, it's fun, right? And even things like Luke showing up at the end of Mandalorian season 2. I love that because that feels right for canon.
Right.
Because when Grogu called out for help in the wonderful canon, that's the person who would answer the call. So I love the canon stuff, but then I also love what's going on here with Visions, which is like, forget about any of that. Forget about where it falls in the timeline or if that aesthetic matches this aesthetic. Just go wild. Just follow your intuition. Follow the spirit, not any rules. Just the spirit. Don't worry about the rules. I really think there's room for both in Star Wars storytelling, and I'm really happy that Visions is exploring this totally open-ended sense of play.
Yeah, you're spot on with the Luke and Mandalorian stuff, where to me was a great example of both sides being celebrated. This is where the story went. Favreau said, I didn't know if I thought that was the way. I just wanted to I got there creatively, and then it makes sense for canon. And we are canon junkies. I think most Star Wars fans are, whether you were Legends canon or expanded universe canon or a Star Wars Explained fan now and looking where it all lays on the map. We love it. That's why we're here. We want to know, and I want to know the answers. I'll use the term, Joseph. I was relieved to find out that this had nothing to do with that. It was all just looking at Star Wars and then having this, and we're going to talk about a great influence on Star Wars reflected now back on creators who are part of the original influence, the style that's part of the original influence of Star Wars. It's just wild and crazy, and it can go anywhere. And I feel excited and relieved. I use the term relieved because I remember the first Forces of Destiny episode where everyone went 12 rounds over how much BB-8 weighed. And, that's pun intended, I guess. It's just weighty stuff, man, where sometimes I get exhausted, and we all listening get exhausted. And you don't want to go negative. You don't want to be one of those, you don't want to be me. I'm grumpy Luke on the island with every word muted. That's not fun for a Star Wars fan with a heart just burbling with Star Wars joy. So I really excited that this was the only decision in my mind. Why it's just go wild. You're fans of Star Wars. You work in other styles. It's not relatively just on the basis, the animation style. Just bring it all here and go where you want to go. That's powerful to me.
Absolutely. And I think for me, I'd be happy to see more storytelling like this. Mm-hmm. But this in particular, I am not an expert on anime or anime. Yeah. I am not an expert by any means, but I kind of did a dive into it about 10 years ago. I had a couple of friends who were like, okay, well, we'll show you a couple things and you can get a little bit more of a sense of what it is. And I watched Cowboy Bebop, this one called Outlaw Star. I watched the Card Captor Sakura, which is this very collectible version of anime. And I wrote a show at the Fringe Festival that I used to participate in that was partially inspired by anime. And the thing that I really pulled out of anime for my own reaction to it was one of the things that seemed to bind the storytelling style together for me is this idea of taking all of these kind of known elements, kind of mythic things, character archetypes, and this extreme value in the point is take all the ingredients and cook something new.
Yeah.
In that world building, and how are we going to take these ingredients and make something that's truly expressive of this particular group of creators is what was really powerful about anime, is this feeling of world building. So for me, that approach, and again, I'm not an expert. That was just my personal reception to watching a very small amount of anime. But from that perspective, it makes a ton of sense to go here. Take all these core ideas of Star Wars and remix them however you want. To me, seems like the spirit of anime.
That's no, I'll give you a well said on that for sure. And how exciting it is for me to take the base level, the base ingredients, the stuff you're talking about it, and by having other creators and a group of creators kind of re-envision it, and that's going to help us, all of us, to even look at what makes Star Wars work from another point of view, and just really almost reaffirm that these little magical elements are why we love Star Wars and why we're here, and they can translate to other things. Just because George was looking around, going, "What can I take? What has influenced me from the serials to samurai films? I'll just and put it into a story." And so it's like it is this circle, and I'm excited to really find the heart of Star Wars in something that maybe even on the surface doesn't look like Star Wars right away, and then you can almost prove the existence of Star Wars going into it.
Yeah. It's just a great sense of play. And I think, whether or not something's canon, I love canon. I am a canon junkie, a canon hound. I kind of do want the major releases to remain in this shared reality. But I also want Star Wars to have this sense of play, and I want it to be that canon or not isn't what matters. Of like, if you're moved, if you're affected, if you think about the story, if you fall in love with the story, that's all that matters.
Yeah, no, and look, and related to some of the other stuff lately of comic books scenes being reworked, or novels and stuff, and we've talked about it a lot. We'll talk about it again because I'm sure it will happen again. I totally get it. I totally get it. I understand it. I love the Ahsoka book. I love the canon comic, but at the end of the day, to side on the the side, to err on the side of creative is something I'm always going to be excited. And this is so wild and so fun. So what do we think about that, Joseph? Now that we've seen what is coming, little clips here and there, art pieces, what do we think about Star Wars looking at part of its roots and reconnecting them in this way? I touched upon a little bit here, but what are you excited about in this forthcoming release?
I think I was really excited by the variety. Like, I like in this project and in these presentations, they're really being explicit about some among the many influences for Star Wars, Japanese culture and art and samurai and animation. That was all a part of it. So this is having the culture that was borrowed from, come full circle.
Yeah.
So that is an explicit part of this. But I think what was really fun then is to see those clips and see like variety. Like some of the images uh of Jedi look like very traditional Star Wars images, like the kind of images that inspired Star Wars, right?
Right.
But then there's like much more modern stuff, like the chibi stuff, like the little bit, more the short and the cute,
Yeah.
So it's great to see that variety. That it's not just sort of like these more expected samurai images, but just a wild explosion of creativity and fun. In just, looking forward to the variety in the animation and the storytelling.
Yeah, you touched upon something that was interesting because there was a lot of shots that went, "Oh yeah, that's kind of what I would expect." And we'll say like the samurai feel, to just describe it in general. I kind of was, "Oh yeah, I'm sure that's coming our way." But then you're right. Then there were some other things, the little short, cute things, as you said. Even a character we're going to discuss that's a rabbit. I'm like, okay, yeah, that I'm not surprised that that's there, but I am excited to. I don't want to say challenge, like I'm sitting there with my arms folded, just be like, all right, it's an easier leap for me to look at something that has a classic samurai feel and go, oh yeah, that's Star Wars. That's an easy leap for me. But to look at something else that's a little more different, a little more out there, and connecting to the joy that might be inherent in a children's story, or they even talked about in the video of sweeping romance, which we know is a part of Star Wars. We know it's a vital ingredient, and to see it from another angle, and I'm more interested to see how I react to some of those things.
Yeah, me too. And it's really great just in the trailer preview that we got to see to see the aesthetic exploration. But all the creators are talking a lot about what specific ideas or
Yeah.
core themes of Star Wars they were interested in, and I'm really excited to just dig into the story and see what are the interpretations of the themes. How much is it like this discussion of this theme feels very, very similar to what's in the films and the shows and the books that have been produced, or what is like, let's take this theme, but then there's a slightly different cultural view of it. I'm really excited to dig into that.
Yeah, excited indeed, and yeah, the themes that you mentioned, and just it's kind of what we keep talking about here. So I'm excited about it, just in that regard of just Star Wars getting to looking on itself, and we'll talk about here some of our favorite visuals and clips. But final note for me on some kind of the general discussion, Joseph, is this. I don't know. This just has a feeling of fun, and you talked about joy and everything. It just I'm excited for that, and excited to sit down as a Star Wars fan and just go into something that just looks back at Star Wars, which is what we do every day or every week in this podcast. You out there listening, all these stories, the Star Wars. This is one of the reasons we talk about having Star Wars and life adventures, because that's what we're all doing. And to see it on the grand scale, I hope they do more of these kind of things, including slice of life, docuseries, anything that has to do with the fandom of Star Wars, creators being influenced by Star Wars in ways that are not immediately present because they're making a Star Wars movie that's in theaters. Like this is going to be just fun as a fan.
Absolutely. I think I know I'm repeating myself, but I think it is just really important to have that sense of play, sense of inclusion, and I think that Disney, when they took over, and it's getting to be a while ago now, right? Where they were really like, let's really reinvest in the core of Star Wars. Let's really get it on its feet, And I think something like this is really getting back to, I think, of a place that Lucas was with Star Wars, of like, it's a sandbox, playing it.
Yeah. God, you just made me. We're coming up on 10 years of that sale. Oh my God! Next year.
Wow, yeah.
Time, she goes. But open forum time. What are some of your favorite visuals and clips that you're looking forward to that grabbed you?
Ooh, yeah. So some of it was the visual, and some of it was just those little quick snips with of interview with some of the creators. The Tatooine Rhapsody, the one that's the rock opera, looks amazing, right? Just there's a one shot of Boba Fett, there's a one shot of Jabba drinking from that weird space
Yeah.
Stein wine glass. I love it. So I'm just really intrigued. I think this is the kind of thing that we've talked about, joked about. I know every other Star Wars fan and broadcaster has as well. So I'm just excited to see like that story of a band, trying to make it big while caught up in the criminal underworld. So I'm really excited about that one.
Yeah.
The one that I believe has the rabbit character, which looked really interesting.
Yeah.
One of the creators involved had this quote of the design style in this short really focuses on the collision between natural beauty and encroaching industrialization. With the Empire representing the march of technology. That's one of those Star Wars dualities that I'm on about all the time, about the organic versus the technical, and the rigid and the mechanical. And I'm so excited to see a short that's like visual style wise, we're really focused on that contrast in Star Wars. So really excited about that one.
Yeah.
And then I got two more. Do you want me to share, or should I shut up for a minute and let you go?
Yeah, why don't you shut up for a minute? I'll dive into some of the stuff. I think we went to some of the same spots too, and just where some of these little interviews were exciting. And one of them was Kenji Kamiyama saying Kamiyama, sue me, I forgot the name there, saying a lightsaber is the stuff of children's dreams. That got me. I don't know why. That just it kind of inspired me on a level I didn't expect from this sneak peek. I was like, hey, show me some art. I think it was a cynical Saturday, sitting down after a long day, and that got me of just like, yeah, this is kind of the spirit of what we're doing here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've had some good conversations when we've done episodes about lightsabers, and I think we can do deep dives and go like, okay, but where did that person get their kyber crystal, and how does that? And then where's the emitter? Where is that? It's usually obvious where the emitter is, but you know what I mean. We can get technical about it, and I think that just like that utter thrill from that very first scene of this is the weapon of a Jedi. Just refocusing on that spirit, extremely thrilling.
Yeah, and some visuals got me here. I'm doing my best to describe them, but I think if you watched, you kind of know there was that one shot It's got to be from the Tatooine rock opera, Joseph. The X-wing nose down in the sand with the twin suns.
Beautiful, utterly beautiful.
Hang that on my wall right now.
Yeah.
Oh God, that looks great. And then there was one shot of the wise old tree, I'm calling it, against a red sunset, and then like these walls suddenly appear around it. But just that shot too, and it's funny because you look at that and it's an old kind of mystic looking tree. There's nothing inherently Star Wars about just the visual, but you look at it, you go, "Oh, Star Wars."
Well, yeah, because it's like it's organic and flowing, but and it's also ancient, and there's so many those deep feelings that I do think do cross cultures that Star Wars evokes. Like I just see that in that tree. Like how long has that tree been there? What does it know? What does it feel? What can we learn from that tree?
Yeah, a couple other visuals for me. Then I'll kick it back to you here. Just there's the hero. I'm saying I think it might be from the Twins one. There's the one based around twins. They said a hero standing against like blue stormtroopers and a wild looking villain. It struck me oddly enough as it's clearly anime style, but it had Macquarie in it as well. Like so like this is just a circle of wonderful influences, and then those same characters. There was that other shot of them shooting red and blue lightning at each other, which did obviously invoke some of the Rise of Skywalker visuals and marketing. But it just there again too of just something that's just completely original that is so Star Wars, and those shots got me excited.
Yeah. There was one shot. I think it was the short that was being just sort of described as a love letter to Star Wars, but it was really a pretty just direct interpretation of a lot of known characters and known aliens in a more traditional Japanese style, and it's like it's a Bosk in a more Japanese outfit, or a Trandoshan, and then there's a Doug, maybe Sabalba, but a Doug riding around in like a hollowed out probe droid.
Yes.
That just as an image, that was like, damn, that's so cool to just see something you love reinterpreted into a different aesthetic, into a different culture. So that one just visually was really powerful.
Yeah.
The description of the twins being about dark side twins, that's so great. I'm really intrigued by that. But the other two that really got me, The Village Bride, the director speaking about it, Hitoshi Haga, said, I wanted to include the concept of traditional Japanese culture of mountains. And the description of Village Bride and the images of kind of a little community gathered around was all really intriguing to me. But that was one of the like direct ideas of we are affected by where we live. Our environment is a part of our culture, and I think that has been baked into Star Wars with like what does it do to you to grow up on Tatooine versus Alderaan, not just culturally but just like aesthetically shaped by the environment that you're in. So to hear like I'm so curious to see like what does that mean. What is what ideas about the power of mountains or living in mountains and how life is different on a mountain is going to be incorporated into Star Wars. So I was like really excited by that thematically. And then the last one that was been really getting me is The Elder, Mashikyo Atsuka, I believe. I apologize for my not great pronunciation. That one just looks great with kind of traditional Jedi and Padawan having an adventure. But then in that preview, the director says, I am happy I directed a Star Wars episode as my final work.
Yes.
And I looked him up. He has an amazing resume with having worked on some, huge cornerstones of the art form. And he's retiring, according to a message board I found. And it was interesting to cross-reference that with another description of this short said, so The Elder, that title has double meaning. So it's like, is this a Star Wars story about the value of growing old by somebody who is retiring, like by a rock star, in a Jedi master of animation retiring? So that one I'm really excited for. That might be the one I'm most excited for.
I wrote that one down too because I love that you pointed that out because I've been watching the CNN doc about the story of late night and just reliving Carson just dropping his retirement at the advertising meeting in New York in '92, and this. So then I was watching this the same day and I was like, did he just do that? Did he just tell all of his fans, oh, yeah, you're going to enjoy this? By the way, I'm done. I was fascinated by it. And what a way to go. And some of the designs that you saw for that are what I was talking about earlier of an easier leap for me to go like, oh, that just doesn't just look Star Wars. That is so Star Wars. I could see it as a concept art for a series or something on Disney Plus that is coming down the line. You know what I mean? Like it just had that vibe, and it just everything about that story and who they meet. There's some concept designs, maybe of who a Sith-like character they're meeting. That one just pulled me in. I'm excited to see that one.
Yeah, absolutely. That one really grabbed me. Are you excited for the rock opera?
Yes. Yeah. I am. Because as much as you're so right. We have talked about, could there be a VH1 behind the music on Figure and Dan, all stuff. I'd love to see that stuff. But if it was too straightforward, too like a Disney Plus 30-minute cheeky documentary on Figure and Dan and the modal nodes, but it's kind of canon, there again would be that certain amount of pressure on it. I'd still want that. This one, I have no expectations other than blow my mind.
Yeah. I think what I'm really excited about it is it could be anything, it looks like it's going to be fun and just visually thrilling and all that. But, I think I've always been interested in this little picture that we get in Star Wars where we almost always see musicians, entertainers, absolutely tied to criminal organizations. And, I'm a big fan of an era of musical history where, hey, if you wanted to perform in a club, guess what? You knew mobsters because mobsters owned the clubs, and that's just it. You didn't have a choice. Do you want to work? Then you're tied to the mob, kind of,
Yeah.
And I'm so curious if that's going to be like we are young. We want to get our voices out there. We want to share our perspective with rock. And in order to do that, we have to sign contracts with killers.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Jabba the Hutt,
Yeah.
Jabba the Hutt owns the club. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? No, I'm excited about that one. And as someone who grew up a fan of Robotech, as I've talked about on the show, which was, to be clear, they a very Americanized version of that tale, but it still had all the elements because it was the animation style. Music is all through that. In the weirdest way, there at times Robotech is a musical, and you got Min-May singing during the final battle. Stage fright, go. I mean, and all the other songs she sings. Like, so it would. I absolutely kind of maybe subconsciously wanted one to have just a bunch of music all through. So love that. And the final big one. They're really talking about this the Ninth Jedi One. They describe it as epic. They say it is two separate shorts as how it began. One was set in a time when Jedi have fallen into legend and need to come back as darkness threatens the galaxy. Love that. With the daughter of a lightsaber smith seeking out the Jedi and delivering their weapons. Full stop. I need that in feature-length form right now. I love that pitch. And then it goes into the other stories told from the point of view of 8 warriors coming together, learning they are indeed force sensitive and can trust each other. So they combine those kind of stories. If you're pitching that as some kind of movie set in the Old Republic or something like that, or somewhere else, I'm there for that. I love that pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think they said in one of the things, like, they had us at Lightsaber Smith with this pitch. Like, yeah, lightsaber. In some ways, Lightsaber Smith, just that phrase is just so intoxicating.
Yeah.
But it's a great example of let's just play. Let's just be open-minded, right? Because there's something that absolutely matches stories that have been told about samurai and from this culture of like you get your sword from the master sword maker, right? So Lightsaber Smith makes so much sense as something to explore. But then if you put your canon hat on, you could be like, but the canon is that a Jedi has to make their own lightsaber, so blah blah, so you can't blah, And this to me is one of those like, okay, this is what's great about this. Hey, I love Professor Huang and the Crucible and the Gathering and all those stories, but just like, those stories will always exist. Set them aside, and let's lose our minds about a lightsaber smith, and let's just play.
Yeah, yeah. And then you could depending on how well this hits me, and I'm anticipating perhaps well, you could convince me to say, well, 5,000 years ago there was like a lightsaber smith. He had a shop there on Illumin.
Right. Why not?
Why not? Why not? Well, that's kind of a look at everything coming. I mean, there's a lot there, even in about a 4-minute video. I'm sure all of you listening have checked it out, and we'll see. Some people might not be super excited. Some are excited, and then some are just throwing bricks at each other over canon. Whatever. This is here. It's coming September 22nd. We cannot wait to dive in here on the Force Center.